So the Coleco Chameleon project has been terminated. And yeah, before I go any further, I'd just like to say, whoever wrote this article, Brittany Vincent, all those moments will be lost in time like tears in rain. Time to die. That comes from Blade Runner. If you guys haven't seen Blade Runner, go watch it. One of the best cyberpunk themed movies. It was released either in the 80s or 90s. I'm not 100% sure when, but it applies pretty damn well for today's standards because it's about robots and artificial intelligence and stuff like that. So go watch it. It's damn good. So, ladies and gentlemen, what was the Coleco Chameleon? Well, a while ago, I reported on this being super fishy. Like, wow, super fishy. So, I'm going to talk about the story, what ended up happening, a couple things, and discussing it. And if anyone thinks I'm wrong or has evidence to back up me being wrong, please leave it in the comment section below because I don't want to sling shade at the wrong people here. This is just a reference piece right here. I've already watched multiple videos on it in discussions and all of that from multiple users, not just like I saw one video and I was like, well, I'd better go make a video. So I'll take it from the start. The Coleco Chameleon was an Atari Jaguar-esque designed cartridge-based game for today. Like, today we have discs. The problem with discs is that it takes a long time to read the information off of them as opposed to cartridges. Imagine the comparison of a hard drive versus an SSD. You pretty much get the idea. The hard drive has to spin and it has to be accessed just like a disk, and an SSD is just instant because there is no spinning, there is no accessing, things like that. You got it. You're with me. Okay. Basically, what ended up happening was that they pitched this prototype, they had crowdfunding set up for it, and they had Coleco, the company, supporting them. So they actually had a big name attached to this, even though Coleco doesn't do much nowadays in the video game industry itself. It's still nice to see a bigger name attached to it versus no name. So what it was offering was 16-bit graphical interface stylings with unique indie developers signing up to exclusively develop games for it, along with porting over other games. Now, I made the argument that if they were going to do this, who would port over games for it? Because Nintendo definitely wouldn't sign up for this. They wouldn't agree, and they would not port their games over to this no matter what. I just... If they haven't done it for PC, if they haven't really done it for cell phones, there's no way in hell they'd do it for this guy. And so, with Nintendo out, who else has 16-bit games that would port them over? Even Sony kind of started at the 32-bit stage, so most of their PlayStation games probably wouldn't be ported over and probably couldn't have worked on this thing anyways. Plus, they were discs, not cartridges. So that left Microsoft? No, probably not going to happen. And Sega's out of the game, so all the games that were produced for the Genesis, Sega could only port over their own proprietarily owned games. So maybe Sega and a couple other companies, and that's it. I said it was doomed from the start, and well, it seems like I was right. I sat back, and every day almost this thing got worse and worse. From the original showing where they had a mini Super Nintendo lodged in there, shown as the actual prototype with cutout controllers, and it was showing the Super Nintendo controllers, and that's what was being displayed. It was pretty ridiculous, to say the least. A lot of people found it to be upsetting that that's what it was. And when that was revealed, they tried to issue another prototype, which was actually just a capture card inside a clear case, which again, pretty ridiculous. Now, when all of this started coming out, Pat the NES Punk ended up, I think, like calling out Gamester81 for his involvement in it, and Gamester81 ended up making a video defending himself about it. I don't know if that's what happened or not. I watched both videos. It really did seem like, you know, Pat the NES Punk was very upset about this, and rightfully so, but at the same time, like, Gamester81 was trying to defend himself and his involvement in this, and I don't know the details of everything. I don't know the details of the deal. Shady people, shady YouTubers, they don't divulge the percentages, the takes that they're going to get. Most of the time, it is not in their contracts when they promote something that they can't tell people how much money they make. Like, for example, if I do a promotion deal for something and somebody asks me if I'm getting paid for it, a lot of the time I won't make a lot of money. Like on my 1-up boxes and stuff like that, I think I made $16 off of it last month. $16. Boy, I'm really rolling in the dough. I think that'll get me lunch at Taco Bell one day for my family. Yippee, right? So, yeah, I'm not making a lot of money. And for my shirt store, I think I made $4. But I don't promote that stuff, so that's probably why I don't make a shitload of money. It's just there for people if they want to do it. And I do suggest, if you guys are interested in that stuff, go check it out, you know. But I'm not going to promote it in front of every video. So when YouTubers come out and they talk about, oh, well, I was involved in this, and I had, you know, they came and approached me and said I had this much money and I could get this percentage and blah, 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 and, you know, I get it. You might not want to talk about it. You might not want to divulge that information because people would think you were rich or you were getting too much money. Money corrupts. Money makes people think of you differently, and that's very much true. So I don't know if Pat was firing shots at Gamester81 because he thought he was a little bit rich and getting paid under the table to cover this stuff up, and he wanted Gamester81 to explain everything, but Gamester81 didn't have a lot of involvement in the development and the decision making and things like that. That's what he said. Again, I strongly suggest that you watch both of their videos to find out if Pat was really slinging shade or not. Gamester81 seems to have quite a few dislikes on his video explaining, so maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I don't know. I haven't followed this super closely to be able to give you a determination on that or not. Well, that pretty much brings you up to speed. We're at the point in the story where the Coleco Chameleon was displayed with a clear case and like a capture card that you would put into a PC, not even just a standalone capture card or anything. It was found out, determined, and as soon as that was found out, that picture was pulled from their page promoting this, like within an hour, like almost instantly. So obviously something fishy was going on. So then, what ended up happening was after the Toy Fair of the Retro VGS, Coleco fans pointed out that something was askew. It contained the PCI capture card I was talking about. That led to the Coleco Holdings, which had lent its name to the console, demanding that Retro VGS produce the working prototype in 7 days due to complaints to project backers. And that's very good when you're invested in a product and they can't even produce a prototype within 7 days to appease its fans. That's an issue. And after 7 days, it seems that Retro VGS couldn't provide adequate evidence to get a working Coleco Chameleon prototype. In response, the Coleco Holdings announced that it's withdrawing its involvement from the project. Now, here's my question. You had 7 days to produce this prototype. Now, I know that it might have been very, very difficult to do that in 7 days, but this is exactly what I would have done. First off, I wouldn't have been involved in this project, but this is what I would have done. I would have took a Raspberry Pi. I would have had it set up to run a very simple OS. I would have gotten one of those extensions to allow you to plug cartridges into it. You know, the ones that are used to dump ROMs onto the internet. I would have gotten one of those, plugged it up to the Raspberry Pi, and I would have used the spare USB port for a simple controller, and I would have had it running basic emulation within the Jaguar. Not the best or the most subtle attempts to make a working cartridge-based game console, but definitely a better prototype than a goddamn capture card shoved in a clear case. What the fuck, right? Holy shit. I haven't seen a fuck up like that in a long time. But that's what I'm very curious of. Why couldn't they just have done that? I know emulation is illegal, I get that, unless you actually own the product, and then you can't even argue it if the product isn't even being sold, that you're hurting the company in any way, shape, or form. Like for games that aren't even available very easily or readily, you can pay in upwards of $300-400 for their cartridge variants on eBay, and that's really shitty, but that's how it is if you want to play that game. So, you know, there's arguments that can be made. Oh, it's piracy, it's still illegal. Oh, but if you own it, you know, it's a digital product. What's the difference? And no one's gonna end up taking you to court unless you're distributing these cartridges like in the mall or something, and you're like, hey, you know, who wants a cartridge version of Earthbound? It's like, holy fuck, man, that's super illegal. But yeah, why couldn't they have done that? I'm not sure. So what ended up happening is that Retro VGS deleted its Facebook page, and its website is no longer online. So it pulled out. The project is officially terminated. There's going to be no questions or answers regarding whether or not that happened. Who knows if it's going to come back. The official announcement was stated that Retro VGS has decided that the work that they have created is not sufficient enough to be demonstrated at this time. Consequently, we can no longer proceed with this project. The Chameleon project will be terminated. This separation is amicable, and we wish them luck in the future. Which is no, that's like, whoa, bullshit. So yeah, I'd be very pissed off if I was part of that company and I put money into this. I can't imagine how much time they had, and they couldn't even produce a simple emulation prototype. I know that's not what they were going for, but that would have been like a million times better than a fucking capture card or a Junior Super NES. Literally, I want you to get this and understand it in your head. Literally what they did with the Junior NES was rip out a Junior NES, retrofit it to the Atari Jaguar, and that's it. That's it. You can do that with any console. I could literally take this Xbox 360, rip it out of here, and put it in a computer. Would not be that difficult to do that. Didn't matter what case it was, I could figure it out. Just a little bit of soldering, you're good to go. But even with the Junior SNES, they might not have even needed to do that. The power buttons might have lined up perfectly fine, and they might have just had to connect a few wires, and that was it. I mean, what else is there to say, guys? This is just a bad incident on the gaming market, and it's very sad and upsetting for those who decided to pledge for this. But don't lose hope, ladies and gentlemen, because emulation is still available, and you can still buy cartridge-based consoles on eBay. Some of them modified for S-Video, component, 720p resolution, HD resolution even, which is very nice if you don't like those ugly black bars and things like that. You know, even if you want it to be like the way it was back in the day, it's still something to consider. So that's about all I have to say, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I would inform you about this. It's been going on for a couple days now. This happened on March 9th, you can see that. And it's important to let my subscribers know what's going on in the gaming market so that they stay educated. So I've been your host, Protomario, and I'm signing out. As always, good gaming, and God bless. Thanks for watching my video and making it to the end. And would you please consider subscribing to my channel? By subscribing to my channel, you are not only supporting me, but also joining a community that is against stereotypes, lies, and fraud in gaming. I work my hardest to inform my subscribers of important stories that might affect them. From new games to important updates, the Mavericks are always informed. If you are tired of political correctness ruining your gaming experience, then join my rebellion, because PC isn't for me. And if it isn't for you either, consider yourself a friend of the Mavericks. Subscribe today and you'll be in good hands. Mavericks unite, and together we can keep gaming from falling prey to the people that would not only censor it, but also destroy it.